Hey guys, thanks for subscribing. If you happen to stop by, you're not subscribed, I hope you'll do so. Just hit that button, help us out here, and please tell your friends. Um, I'm looking at the map. I'm looking at Greenland, so close to Canada, which, we share a huge border with, and Alaska up there, so close to Russia. It makes a lot of sense why Putin is ordering Trump to invade and take Greenland and, go to war with Canada as well. Um, I think that it's a test. Greenland is important in terms of what's in the ground. Maybe there's oil there, but a lot of it is it's about Arctic passage. Arctic passage helps you get world domination. And that is what Vladimir Putin wants. And Trump has to help him. There's something in it for Trump. Trump is greedy. Trump wants money. Trump wants to be an oligarch. He only ran for president again to keep out of prison. He doesn't care about governing. He doesn't care what happens to any of us. But this is, obviously concerning. When you look at what happened with Ukraine, um, Trump just wants to hand it over to them. So it is about world domination. And obviously, Vladimir Putin is the one directing Trump to do this. And we need to take it very, very seriously. I'm guessing the NATO nations all take it very seriously. They have a clue what's going on. This is about Panama, too, why Putin needed Panama. Once you've got, again, Arctic Passage and Panama, you take the world. And I do believe that that's what Putin wants to do with Trump, probably with Z. This is what Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, and the oligarchs want too. They want to own it and run it in their way. So each of these different interests, these criminal interests, these oligarch and authoritarian and murderous dictator interests are well served by this plan, which Trump is more than happy to implement. We can't stop them, and Democrats can't really stop them. I mean, we rolled over for the Mueller report. We rolled over, we let Garland roll over on stolen documents, on January 6th insurrection, treason, all of these things. We did allow that. We thought that somehow our institutions would magically hold up on their own, and they didn't. And we believed the wrong people. We trusted the wrong people. We let people convince us that Garland was hard at work, despite all evidence to the contrary, and that he was eventually going to get to the top guys. And of course, he never did and never intended to. We thought that Mueller was going to get to the bottom of it. Then we find out that his focus was very, very narrow, that they cut him off at the knees on this stuff. So here we are, I think, believing in too much TV, too much fantasy land, because so much of this had not been tested in our lifetimes. And now we have Trump saying he's going to run for a third term, maybe, and but not by repealing the 22nd Amendment. And some people have suggested that, well, he'll just, make Vance president and then appoint him vice president. Well, that would violate the 12th Amendment, because you can only be vice president if you otherwise would qualify to be president, which Trump would not, because it would be a third term. So they're watching us, say stuff and do stuff, but they know there's not really anything we can do, because we still seem to not believe them. We still think he's not serious. And I think we have to understand he is serious. And the person advising him, the person pulling the strings, the person that has put together the strategy, and has been a strategy for a very, very long time, is Vladimir Putin. And Vladimir Putin could not implement his strategy without Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is a traitor. He's a Russian asset. He works for Putin. And they know exactly what drives Trump. Before it was just money and power, I guess. And now it is staying out of prison. And Trump is doing things now that he probably figures that should a Democrat win the White House next, if we're actually going to have actual elections, not just show elections like Putin does, but real elections, and Trump loses, then he would be going to prison, because he's committing crimes now, crimes against humanity. And he's taking the cues from Putin's playbook. Putin knows how to scare the populace, how to get us very frightened. He knows that we get upset and we'll say, well, you're not going to take our Social Security. Well, they will, because they need us to be weak and hungry and scared and hurting and dying and be consumed with that, so that we cannot fight Trump. So Greenland is, I think, a bit of a test. I don't think that's the big full real prize. I think they want to go much, much further. And yes, I do think that Putin will be given Alaska if that's what he wants, and Canada, and eventually us. I mean, they're going to take all of the North America, that part of the continent. I don't know what they want to do with Mexico. They'll probably just make that their Siberia. But there's something very, very sinister, very dangerous going on right now. I don't have the answers. I only know that we need to know what's going on so that it becomes sort of accepted. We need to be talking about it a lot. And importantly, we need to be letting our Republican elected representatives know that this is what's going on. And if we're not telling them loudly, and if our media isn't reporting on this regularly and loudly, Republicans in Congress won't do anything. Okay. Some of them are true MAGA, some aren't. Some pretend to be because it's in their own best interest. And as I've said repeatedly, we need to make sure they fear us more than they fear Trump. But increasingly, that's going to become more and more difficult as they start figuring out, too, that we're not going to be having real elections anymore. And so how do they get elected? Well, I guess it'll be Elon Musk and Starlink. Look, Putin has been piecing together, the various pieces of this puzzle for this strategy for a long time. We're only able to figure it out and piece it together in real time. But I still sense that too many people are very much in denial and still think this can't happen here. It is, in fact, happening. Greenland, Canada, Alaska. Yeah, this is what's in play now for Putin. Trump doesn't want it to, so he can go build more golf courses for himself. I mean, he might do it, but he's doing this for Putin. I don't know how we can get it through the heads of Republicans in Congress that they need to stop this. Do we really believe that all of them, that a majority of them want this? Or are they in denial? I'm thinking of the ones, okay, the newer Republican members of Congress are MAGA, they're idiots. They're more along the lines of Marjorie Taylor Greene. But the others, maybe some that were in Congress before Trump was president the first time, we have to believe that in their heart of hearts, while you may disagree with them on the issues, you may not like them as people, and for good reason. But we have to at least hope that enough of them, that some of them are patriots. And I think that we should start putting together a plan to draw that out and to force it out of them and make them afraid of us, make them afraid of Putin, of what Putin is going to do to this country and to North America, all of North America. People still think this whole Greenland thing is a joke. It's not a joke. And it is for Putin. If it was something that Trump really thought was important, really wanted, really thought there was a strategic national security reason for invading and taking Greenland, he would have been talking about it during the election. It might have come up even once, you'd think, in an interview with Sean Hannity or some idiot like that, Tucker Carlson, but it didn't. All of this was Putin's plan, and Trump knew that if he started talking about this during the election, about Canada, like for serious, not even just joking around, if he started talking like this about Canada, we're going to take Canada. We're going to invade Greenland. We're going to take the Panama Canal. We're going to give Putin Alaska. He wouldn't have won because this would have been a bridge too far for a lot of Republican voters that thought, I'm hearing the economy is so bad. It wasn't, by the way, but they were believing this crap. And the price of eggs and inflation isn't going down fast enough. So I'm going to hold my nose and vote for that Trump guy, even though I don't like him. A lot of people did that. If they had known that this was on the table, not just on the table, but this was the plan from day one. I mean, look at this. We are only 2 months into this administration. And this is on the table. And they're talking about like, this is going to happen. We are going to invade Greenland. and then what? Hand it to Putin. Um, for lack of any better way to describe it, this is terrifying. And we must hold Republican elected officials' feet to the fire because they're the only ones that can really make a difference. They're the only ones that can make a difference since they have the power. The House majority is very slim, and it only takes a few of them. It only takes a few of them. Democrats need to be stronger, and they're not. I don't think they're doing enough. I've said that before. Um, they need to get off the stick and take this seriously and stop acting like it's not real because it is real. And we can't seem to get through to them, can we? Chuck Schumer, talking about you. I've seen today that there's been several different Democratic, like Senate press conferences for various issues, but you have to go looking for them. You see them flagged. We still need to have one daily cohesive press briefing and fact checking and highlighting all this stuff, and still have these other press conferences, of course. Whatever different senators are doing in their own corner of the world, still do it. And also, those people could be highlighted for specific issues and events and bills and efforts at these daily press briefings. You bring them in for part of the briefing. I love what Cory Booker is doing on the Senate floor, his own personal filibuster. Um, it makes a point. It's going to help him back home, I guess, but it's not going to do the trick. It's not going to do the trick. And it's still going to come from we the people, and we're the ones that have to somehow shake loose at least some Republican members of Congress. Or this is only 2 months in, and look how much Putin's been able to get, aside from just taking Ukraine. He's getting everything else. And we're losing everything. Even MAGA, first they deny what Trump is doing. Well, now you can't deny it, but it is inexplicable. Nobody, and I mean nobody, can come up with a reason, an actual good, believable, true reason why Trump is doing the things he's doing to our economy and with tariffs. We're not going to make money with tariffs. None. I think what he's trying to do is create war. He wants to force somebody to do something that he could say, that's an act of war, and now we're going in. And I wonder if we have enough military personnel that will say, no, we're not going to go into an illegal war. Let MAGA send their sons and daughters to war in Greenland. But I hope that we have enough enlisted and officers who will say no, I think the reason we're all still in disbelief is because nothing like this has ever happened in our country before, and it's happening in our lifetimes. You spend your life, working in politics and learning history in school and watching world events. And no matter how informed or sophisticated you are, I think it's just impossible for an American to get their head around the fact that this is really happening. And unfortunately, this is really happening.